What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? I'm Harrison Graham, and you are watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. Load up your questions, hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat, and we will get your questions on the show as we're going to answer as many as we can. If you do Super Chat, we will prioritize those on screen. Let's start with Kenneth. Orlando Brown needs to go. You know, I probably should have talked about him during our kind of overreaction news and rumors segment on Monday. Orlando Brown, he might be a fraud. He actually might just be bad. I tweeted this out. In the moment, it's probably an overreaction when he's getting beat against Cincinnati. I don't want to, make one game his whole career, but let's be honest. Has he been good this year? I think he's been average at best. Per PFF, he leads the NFL in pressures allowed. You know who's number 2? Andrew Wiley at right tackle. Now, a couple reasons for that. Number one, with Mahomes at quarterback, he buys time, so that pressure stat can be skewed because he's not a 1-2 get the ball out guy. He's trying to buy time and make bigger plays, so that can lead to more pressures. But go watch the tape, man. Orlando Brown, especially against speed rushers, really struggles. I don't know, man. I don't know what the future's going to be there. I think they could tag him again. They're definitely not paying him top of the market big-time money. I just don't see that being the case. So, yeah, it's been a disappointment for this season, Kenneth. I'm not quite saying just get rid of the guy after this year, but it hasn't been pretty for a lot of moments this year. Jason Davis, why can't we get any pressure on anyone with our front four? I'd say the front four pressure has been inconsistent, but I wouldn't say it's been completely absent. Karlaftis has gotten some pressures this year, not a ton of sacks, but pressures. Chris Jones has 10 sacks as an interior pass rusher, so he gets pressure. But, yeah, sometimes Spags has to blitz to get pressure. It is an inconsistent group, but they are, I think, 6th or 7th in the NFL in sacks, so it's not like they don't get any pressure. Now this team does blitz a decent amount, and Frank Clark is still a frustrating player, there's no doubt. But, yeah, it's been inconsistent on that front. Jackson Mahomes lover. I didn't know there were any of those out there. Are the Chiefs still the team to beat in the AFC? That's a good question. I think if you ask the national media, they would say one of 3 teams. They would say the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Bengals. I think that's what they would say. Miami would be a distant 4th, I think. I still think there's a very strong argument to make that the Chiefs are the team to beat. Coming into the year, it was all about the Bills. And, yeah, they've won a few games in a row here, and they're 9-3, and they're the number 1 seed in the AFC. But they've also been kind of messing around. They probably should have lost to Detroit on Thanksgiving. They lost to the Jets, who are decent but not great. That's the one thing about the Chiefs. I know they lost to the Colts, but typically they don't lay eggs. If they lose, it's by 3 points on the road against a great team or something like that. They lost to the Bills by 4 at home. They lost to the Bengals by 3 on the road. They somehow managed to lose the Colts, and that game might bite them, but that's a rare occurrence for this team. I don't know. It's tough to say if they are the team to beat, but they're definitely one of the 3 teams to beat. Who will get the number 1 seed in the AFC? Let me know. Is it Buffalo? Is it Kansas City? Cincinnati? Someone else? Now remember, Miami actually has the tiebreaker over Buffalo currently if they have the same record. If they beat the Bills again, they could end up winning the AFC East and perhaps the AFC if they get a little bit of help. So there's still some teams in the mix. Let me know who will get that top seed in the conference. From Jay, if we get rid of Spags, could we get Vic Fangio or the old head coach for the Dolphins? You're talking about Brian Flores there. I love Brian Flores as a defensive coach. He's, the whole Miami situation, things got muddy there. The ownership got too involved, I think, in terms of we should tank this and that. I think Flores made some mistakes along the way as well, but he's a good football coach. And if he's a DC, that's a damn good hire. Vic Fangio is a good defensive coach as well. He's a 3-4 guy. Do you want to switch from a 4-3 to a 3-4? I don't know if you really have the personnel for that. So it would be interesting, but I think that that would be a couple of interesting names if Spags ended up moving on after this year. From Tony Fuentes, will we win out in December? So I'll pull it up real quick. The Chiefs' remaining schedule is as follows. They got the Broncos this week in Denver. I know it's on the road. Denver sucks, guys. They are absolutely horrible. Then they go to Houston again. They're terrible. So that's 2, barring a disaster, easy wins. That gets you to 11-3. Seahawks at home, they've been pretty solid, but it's at home. That's a game you should win. 12-3. Broncos at home, 13-3. And then at the Raiders are playing better. It'll depend how much the Chiefs have to play for, but they'll be favored in that. I mean, on paper, they should win out. Will they? It's the NFL. I mean, things can happen week to week. I would say at minimum they're going to win 4 out of 5, but I do think they'll win all 5. Okay, Chappell, what game do you think the Bills might lose these last few weeks of the regular season? Well, let's look at the Bills' schedule. They got the Jets at home, the Dolphins at home. That's a game to watch. At Chicago, at Cincinnati, also a game to watch, and then the Patriots at home. That schedule's a little tougher. Easiest game is at Chicago, but you wonder, is Justin Fields eventually going to win one of these close games? I mean, they've been close a lot this year against some good teams. They almost beat Miami. But if that's your easiest one, that's not just a gimme, I don't think. Jets, they beat them earlier in the year. It is in Buffalo this time. Dolphins, it's in Buffalo, but that's a tough game. At the Bengals is a tough game. So I do think that Buffalo is likely to lose at least once. So if they do and the Chiefs win out, the Chiefs will get the number 1 seed. Today's show is sponsored by Fetch, and the Fetch app can be downloaded for 100% free by going to chatsports.com/Fetch. And this holiday season, if you're looking for some stocking stuffers, Fetch might be the place to go because you can scan receipts to earn points, which can then be redeemed for gift cards. Really, really good opportunity. Go to chatsports.com/Fetch. Use promo code CHAT to get 5,000 bonus points, as the app is very, very, very easy to use. You don't have to worry about where the receipt is from. You just open the app, you get your receipts, you scan it, and then confetti will pop on your screen, which will allow you to earn points. Very simple process. You can also click the e-receipt function to get rewarded for your Amazon purchases or any other online shopping by syncing your email account. You can then redeem those points for gift cards like Amazon, Starbucks, or any of the hundreds of retailers and restaurants available on the Fetch app. I mean, just think of any major, grocery store or restaurant. It's all going to be available for you guys. Chatsports.com/Fetch. We're giving you 5,000 points with promo code CHAT. Once you get to 10,000, that's a $10 gift card. Perfect stocking stuffer this holiday season. Start earning points. Scan your receipts with Fetch at chatsports.com/Fetch. Elizabeth Reid with the $20 super chat. Where's Trizzy Trace? Sorry I'm late, so you may have already covered this. Do you think the loss to the Bengals indicates vulnerabilities overall in the Chiefs team? It's a good question. Look, here's what we know. Defensively, the secondary is young. The pass rush is kind of inconsistent. We know that. Offensively, I do think at left and right tackle, you've got questions, and we probably should have talked about this more. The Chiefs really missed Joe Thuney yesterday, who was inactive. They had to start Nick Allegretti at left guard. Some interior pressure got through, so that made it tougher for Patrick. But I wouldn't say major vulnerabilities, Elizabeth, but I do think there are a couple areas where this team can, I don't want to say get exposed, but be attacked. The Bengals are a tough matchup because they have 3 damn good receivers, and you got a bunch of young corners back there trying to defend them. So, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. This is not a flawless team. There are flaws on this roster. Mike Tilson, and thanks to Elizabeth for the super chat. I don't know if Cincy is much better than KC. So many mistakes. Kelsey fumble, missed field goal, killer penalties at the worst time. Seems more self-inflicted. I agree with that. I said that during our News and Rumors show that the Chiefs just tend to make mistakes against this team for whatever reason. The Kelsey fumble, it's inexcusable, and it cost the Chiefs the game. There's no doubt about it. Notable penalties. Now, I think the PI that eradicated that interception by Thornhill was BS, but you got to fight through that stuff, man. They called it at the end of the day, and that was costly. So, yeah, I do think a lot of it is self-inflicted, but that's part of the game. The Bengals didn't have self-inflicted stuff nearly as much as the Chiefs, so that factors in, that counts, and who's to say that if they play the game again, the Chiefs won't clean up some of those mistakes. So I think the Chiefs are the better team. I think the Chiefs and the Bills are better than the Bengals, but the Bengals have had the Chiefs number for whatever reason for the past couple of seasons. Subscribe to the channel as we are trying to get to 35,000 subs here on the Chiefs Report. We are 662 away, so help us get there by hitting that subscribe button. It's youtube.com/ChiefsTV. Spread the word, and let's get more subs here on the Chiefs Report. Dale Webb Jr., time to bench Harrison Butker. They're not benching Butker, and I'll tell you why. Because he's one of the highest-paid kickers in the NFL, and even though he's been inconsistent, there's no better option out there. There's just not. Matt Amendola, Matthew Wright, they gave it a go when they were here earlier in the season. They're not better than Harrison Butker. So, yeah, he's been frustrating. His miss was from 55, which obviously isn't a gimme for any kicker, but he is paid to make those kicks. You wonder if that ankle injury on his plant foot is still bothering him a bit. I don't know, but I will admit that he has been inconsistent this year. From Cole Keller, speaking of Joe Thuney, when is he expected back? Hopefully soon. I think it was a bit of a surprise that he didn't play, so we'll keep tabs on that. Joe Thuney, obviously a glue piece on this offensive line. You could argue your best pure offensive lineman, although maybe Creed Humphrey gets that title at this point. But, yeah, Joe Thuney is critical to the interior because him, Humphrey, and Trey Smith is the strength of this offensive line right now. The NFL kid, my Panthers cut Baker today. Y'all want him as a backup? I don't want Baker. Baker Mayfield is, he's just not good, man. And with his ego, I don't think he's worth having as a backup. So I don't think the Chiefs are the fit for him. San Francisco maybe with Jimmy Garoppolo getting nicked up, but I don't think Baker Mayfield for the Chiefs is that realistic of an option, or really even an option that the Chiefs should consider. Appreciate all the questions on this mailbag. If you have any more, hit me up on social media at HGramNFL on Twitter. Same handle on Instagram. We can answer more questions over there. So slide into the DMs, give me a follow, and I am always down to answer some questions. It's at HGramNFL both on Twitter and on Instagram.